The world is not just changing, it is transforming at hyperspeed. AI is revolutionizing how we work, digital technology is reshaping customer experience, and the way we learn and grow is evolving daily. The question is, who is leading this transformation? Welcome to Industry Beacon, where we decode the future of business with the leaders who are shaping it. I'm your host, Jack Mardrid. Today, we are with a leader who is not just embracing transformation, he's championing it. As the president and CEO of RCBC, Eugene Acevedo has turned a heritage bank into a digital pioneer. But what sets him apart is not just his tech vision. It is his passion for developing people. While others talk about AI, he's implementing it. And while others discuss digital transformation, he's executing. While many focus on metrics, he's equally focused on mentorship. His insights and leadership and innovation reach thousands of business leaders on LinkedIn. But beyond all the algorithms and analytics, he is asking the essential questions. How do we harness AI to serve Filipinos better? How do we transform customer experience in the digital age? And perhaps most importantly, how do we educate and prepare the next generation of leaders for a future that's arriving faster than we think? We will explore these questions with a leader who believes that true innovation happens at the intersection of technology and human potential. Let's welcome Eugene Acevedo to the show. Hi, Eugene.
Thank you, Jack. I've been excited to be in this show. Thank you for having me, finally.
Oh, finally, indeed. Let's dig and dive right into it.
Sure.
You know, Eugene, as we've discussed before, the world is not just moving fast. It's rewriting the rules of competition, right, in real time. And the Philippines is often seen as a follower rather than a trailblazer. What do you think is the one bold move that we need to make today to stop this catch-up mode and begin to lead?
Yeah, it's, Jack, I've been going around the country, which I do on a regular basis, and checking things out and seeing what potentials I can see. And you know what inspires me? We have a lot of bright young Filipinos, products of the 70 to 80 science high schools that we have all over the country. They're brilliant, they know digital, they grew up digitally, and they know their AI. We need to harness that huge potential. I think with 110 million Filipinos, we should be able to find many of those. And if we invest in them, I think we will be able to work wonders.
That's quite promising, Eugene. I'm glad you shared that, because as a country, our traditional strongholds, are obviously, we have the overseas Filipino workers. Now we have the digital Filipino workers who are in the IT BPM industry. So we have contact center shared services. But what other industry could represent our third leg, our breakout moment? The one where, made in the Philippines becomes the gold standard for the world.
Yeah, it's something I've been thinking about for some time. The industry that you're leading now, thankfully, is balancing the OFW. And the more I think about it, the more I realize what our strengths are. And a big source of our strength is culture. We're great people. We are hospitable, we're warm. Naturally, we don't make extra effort. It just comes out. Yeah. And where can we use that? Where can we unleash that? Tourism. We need to fix infrastructure and so on, but you don't need to fix the beautiful parts of the country that already exist. So that's one. The second thing I've been thinking about was, just recently I was in Istanbul with my family. And when I was walking around, I'd see guys with hospital bandages around their foreheads. I initially was taken aback, but they seemed happy. They were having their coffee. And then somebody explained to me that Istanbul was a capital in Europe of hair transplant, something I should maybe consider. But it's something we can do. It's something we can do. We can marry with all the hospital systems that we've established, with tourism, we can put it together.
We have the world's most popular nurses.
That too. And we can link it up with the industry you're leading, put it together. That's something that I think can be world-class. And finally, I'm not sure whether you noticed, but somebody told me that there's about a million young Filipinos who are in the gig economy. They're doing virtual stuff. They stay at home, and their employers are in the US or elsewhere. We can organize them. I think we haven't done enough, but using the skills that we've learned in your industry, plus whatever else we can help them with, and culturally, the behavior that makes a service industry do better than the service industry anywhere else, I think we can work wonders. I think we need to figure out the third, the fourth, and the fifth industry anchors that are going to make this country grow stronger.
I completely agree with you, Eugene. You know, we're the youngest country in Asia, right? Average age 25.
Yes.
With world-renowned empathy, customer experience. We should really leverage on that, so I agree with you. Let's talk about AI. You know, we all know now that it is not just a trend. It's really a tectonic shift. In your opinion, are Philippine businesses prepared to harness its potential? Or is there a risk that we will again be left behind? There's also this deep fear, no, that AI will wipe out jobs. But from your vantage point, is AI a job disruptor, or is it actually a potential catalyst for an entirely new wave of Filipino talent and jobs?
Now, I'll go back, Jack, to what I mentioned about the science high schools. You know, I have about 50 data scientists. We started hiring them 6 years ago when I joined the bank. Before I took over, I did a lot of studying, took certifications in AI and data science. And the more I studied, the more I realized I needed to know more. I dig further and decided that the bet that RCBC was going to make was on AI, apart from the digital transformation exercise. When you do AI, one of the first things you need to do is digitize your data.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's like walking into a bodega where everything is all over the place. So you have to have all the information in a single place, well organized. Simple things like, what's your birthday? It might be typed as January 1 something, or somebody would say 1/something. Yeah. Those things make it very messy. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done by businesses. But you know what encourages me is that we have produced, I think by now, I was thinking hundreds, but maybe by now, probably over 1,000 data scientists. AIM alone has 4 data science programs where AI is a major competency. There's a bachelor's degree, a part-time master's, a full-time master's, and a PhD. UP is doing the same thing. Even the University of San Carlos is offering a data science program. So everybody is jumping in. Young people are jumping in. Chemical engineers, for example, we don't have much manufacturing, but they studied it anyway. And then they realized that the intersection of skills between chemical engineering and data science was very close. And of course, physics. Physicists are jumping into AI. Even I learned AI. So there are skills available. There are skilled individuals available. So what businesses need to do is simply open up and hire a young guy to look at what they have. I think everybody's convinced that AI is important. I'm not sure whether you've heard, I'm taking my doctorate now. And when you go through information, Jack, we don't use highlighters anymore. We feed it into an AI platform, and it comes out organized. You know, I'm a believer, but we can get this done simply because I think we have the skills to do it. We have skilled young people who love doing it and they're available.
Certainly, we could really use way more data scientists in this country. And when you talk about the talent gap, with investors and locators in our industry, there's this perception that we lack technical skills, digital skills, analytical skills. So what you said about the data scientists, that's very promising.
The second point, though, is there's fear, obviously. But I remember the time when we were city bankers and the first few personal computers were being delivered to the bank. And the term we used was computerization. At that point, Jack, I'm not sure whether you remember, but the old clerks from the labor union were getting concerned that they were going to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
But nobody lost their jobs. All they needed to do was learn the new technology. The reason why I feel good about AI is people are feeling the benefits from AI. They use Copilot, for example. They tinker, and they see great things happening. So I think it's going to be easy to convince them to learn how to use AI for their own workplace.
We're going to continue on that point, Eugene, on digital transformation. But right now, we're going to take a quick break. Industry Beacon will be right back. Please stay with us.
The latest news, national issues,
with regard to was very vocal about charter change.
the political scene, the trust and approval ratings of President Bongbong Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte decline, and conversations with prominent personalities.
Brings back wonderful memories of past Christmases when I was a little boy in Iloilo.
Be timely informed, be insightful of the news. All these firsthand at the forefront.
Welcome back. Let's continue our discussion with Eugene Acevedo, the President and CEO of RCBC. Eugene, as we were saying, digital transformation, it's really where ambition meets reality.
Yeah.
Many companies have invested in technology, but only a few really are able to reinvent themselves. So in the context of the Philippines, what, in your opinion, is the single non-negotiable factor that separates those who succeed and those who don't?
I realized it is simply about customer experience. Many companies decide to buy technology and hire a few experts as if that's the way to digitally transform. But I found out that that was wrong. Thankfully, we did not have expensive lessons because right from the start, we decided that we were going to use digital tools and data science to personalize and improve customer experiences for our customers across the most important and the most popular interactions. For example, a payday loan. In a few clicks, any employee from a customer who has their payroll accounts with us will be able to get an advance up to 40% of their salary. Easy things like those. Filipinos have been spoiled by the great customer experience that they're getting from Netflix and all the global leaders. That is at the core. If you don't deliver a customer experience that beats the next guy or at least comparable to the next guy, you're not going to move anywhere. That's the minimum requirement. It's not technology, it's about how you deal with customers. But the second most important thing is what really drives digital transformation it's about people. The obvious part is upskilling them, but the less obvious and most important part that sustains it is getting them together,
Yes.
getting them into a collaboration mode. And this is exactly where customer experience meets squads of employees. We identify a great opportunity, and we find 7 people from all over the company to work on it together. What comes out is a group of people who demolish old silos, start working together, people cheer them on, and before you know it, other people want to be part of it. You cannot boil the whole ocean. You start with a group of people who are excited, and they will inspire the rest of the bank, at least in my case. So we started that way. And when you do it that way, it gets sustained. It's like how, my favorite example is how the UP Maroons started winning, and everybody in UP became a basketball fan. You start winning, you start producing, and you inspire everybody else, and they want to be part of it.
Nothing quite as inspiring as a success story, proving
Yes.
the model. I want to follow up, Eugene, on your point about the importance of people. You know, the country produces hundreds of thousands of graduates every year, but are we producing leaders? That skills gap, this leadership skills gap is growing. So, you know, I always wonder, who bears the real responsibility for that? The private sector, businesses, universities, or the government? So, a question for another conversation. But my question is, if you had the power to help redesign our educational system, if you had the job of Secretary Sani Angara, now, what would be the first radical change you would make? I know it's a hard question.
It is a hard question, but it's a question that's very deep. I'll do 2 things. I do a short-term strategy and a long-term strategy. The long-term strategy has to address the most pressing issue in the EDCOM 2 report, and that is the assessment that our basic education is 5.5 years below the global standard. That will take a long time. Yeah. But on the short-term end, I think we have enough college graduates or college students that we can work with on 2 things. First is, obviously, get more STEM graduates. You mentioned leadership earlier. I think many schools are investing in leadership skills, like what San Carlos did for me when I was a student there. But this is where the private sector has to be part of the process, because the private sector leaders are found inspiring by students. But private sector leaders don't make themselves readily available. Yeah. What students need are mentors. They learn things in school, but they don't know the workings, the inner workings of corporations. They don't know what great opportunities are available in certain industries. They don't know that. And a huge majority, maybe 70, 80%, at least from what I've seen, of students, they come from households where the parents never attended college. They are the ones who need mentoring the most. And in fact, that's where I spend a lot of time on, because as a provincial guy, I've seen this up close. And I think it's something that the private sector can work on. Leaders have to make themselves available. That, for starters, I think will go a very long way. You and I, we grew up in Citibank, and the only way Citibankers know how to raise leaders is through mentoring.
Yes.
You probably had 24 mentors, same as me. Why did we have that opportunity? Why can't we make that opportunity available to kids as well? Jack, I think we can get it done.
I couldn't agree more. And you know, your 40,000 followers, Eugene, on LinkedIn are fans and admirers of your being such a vocal advocate for membership. In fact, I'm holding your book, your second book right now, Reinvent and Outperform, which I believe is not even presently available, but there's a new stock coming in. But maybe we can end on this note. Why did you write this book? And you know what you're a thought leader, you're a mentor, and now an author. So as we wrap up this interview, Eugene, what inspired you to write this book?
Actually, I wish that it started with some spark of inspiration, but it started with a day when I wasn't feeling very well. So I looked for an outlet, and the outlet was writing. And then I realized I could write about topics that young people find interesting. Things like, if you want to become a CEO in the future, what do you need to do? In that book, there's 3 chapters on digital transformation, AI, and data science. So it's basically, it's my contribution. Anybody who reads what I post on LinkedIn becomes my friend, and if he is young enough to be considered my mentee, he becomes or she becomes my mentee. And that, I think, is how I'm really living the mentoring that I was suggesting earlier.
That's really very inspiring, Eugene. I only wish we had more time, but that is it for today's show. I am Jack Mardrid. I thank you so much to our valued guest, Eugene Acevedo, for sharing your insights and perspectives with us. Catch us again tomorrow for more enlightening discussions here on Industry Beacon. You can catch BNC on Free TV Channel 31 and on Cignal Channel 24. Thank you for watching BNC, the Billionario News Channel, always on top.